Hello, player of the Cookie Run card game, greetings to everyone. In the previous video, we introduced the strongest yellow deck in the 4th series, which received a lot of positive feedback. So, in this video, we will continue to introduce other colored decks in the 4th series of the Taiwan environment. In this episode, I will introduce, what does Taiwan's red deck looks like? Since I introduced the deck video, many people have asked me. I played a red deck in the 1st and 2nd series. I'm curious, can the red deck still work in the 3rd and 4th series? My answer is, yes, you can certainly keep playing it, but you'll find it very frustrating. Why is that? The reason is simple. Red is currently the only deck that almost cannot return or discard its cookies. Meanwhile, yellow decks in the 4th series have gained many ways to reduce the break area. This means you'll need to spend more cost to feint their cookies. Unless the yellow deck gets really unlucky, it's almost impossible to defeat wave after wave of yellow cookies. However, fans of red decks don't need to feel too discouraged. In the 4th series, some players successfully developed a very interesting targeted deck, specifically designed to counter the meta yellow deck that introduced in my previous video. This deck takes advantage of an aggressive playstyle, delivering a heavy blow to slower decks and leaving yellow decks almost entirely on the defensive with little opportunity to attack. This deck is known as the Level 3 red type. Additionally, in the English version of the Cookie Run card game, red decks gained a new card, the Strawberry Crepe with level 3 and 5 HP, which fits perfectly into the level 3 red type. We're very excited to see how this deck performs in the English version. Apart from the level 3 red deck, at the end of this video, I will also introduce the only red deck in Taiwan to successfully make it into the top 16 of the final championship. It represents the last hope for red deck players. For the reason I need to give this deck some respect. These two decks will be introduced together for English version players. Okay, here we go. The term Level 3 red type means that all the cookies in the deck are Level 3 cookies, including the flip cards. This type of deck breaks the traditional gradual progression gameplay. Instead of focusing on resource storage, it shifts to a playstyle where you do as much as possible with whatever cost you have. The only goal of this deck is to quickly defeat the opponent. This approach is particularly well suited for red decks. In simple terms, throughout the entire game, we can have a maximum of 5 cookies in play. We need to carefully select which cookies to play based on the color of our opponent's deck. One important note is that if our opponent's deck is purple, we need to expect that only 4 cookies can be played this game. The reason is simple. Purple decks can easily force you to execute a refresh, and unfortunately, we can only choose level 3 cookies to the break area. In this deck, the best cookie to play first is Peperoncino, as it has 6 HP and is not easily defeated in the early game. Additionally, this deck includes a lot of +1 health flips, making it easy to heal. Remember, healing is a key for this deck. Whenever you can flip a healing card, you should heal, as every point of HP can be used to deal damage through cards like Fire Spirit Cookie and Prickly Gloves. Thus, every point of HP is important and valuable. In the early game, this deck requires 3 costs to deal damage, so its early actions are quite limited. If you have Burning Jelly Volcano, you can place it in the stage area early on. Alternatively, if your opponent has a 1 HP cookie, such as Cookie Moles or Sugar Glass Cookie, you can play Fire Spirit Cookie and use its skill to feint it. In the mid-game, this deck reaches its peak firepower, capable of feinting a cookie with a single punch. Pitaya Dragon's on-play skill can instantly feint a level 1 cookie, and its attack deals 4 damage. Hollyberry is a wonderful cookie with both offensive and defensive capabilities. And Strawberry Crepe can deal 2 points of effect damage, making it highly effective against level 1 cookies. When paired with stage cards, these cookies can deal huge damage. So, your strategy is simple. Just deal damage over and over again. During the mid-game, it's crucial to have 2 Wildberry cookies in hand as your final plays. If not in hand, Hollyberry can also serve as the final cookie because its defense allows you to survive a few extra turns. The level 3 red type includes an interesting trap card called Battle on the Edge. When one of your level 3 cookies faints, this card deals 2 points of effect damage and counter. This trap lets you use the remaining costs, and can even feint your opponent's cookies. This deck also includes Essence of Conflagration, an item card that costs 2 to deal +3 damage. It's strong enough to feint nearly any cookie on the battle area. In summary, this deck's playstyle is straightforward. Whenever you have enough cost, deal damage and continuously pressure your opponent. Avoid leaving any opponent's cookies with low HP. If you can trade your own HP to deal damage, just do it. This deck's shortcomings are equally apparent, since you can only play 5 cookies in total during the game. Opponents can use this limitation by continuously waste your cost or forcing your attacks to overkill a single cookie. Strategies like hit-and-run tactics or forcing you into inefficient level trades can effectively suppress this deck. Another notable red deck is the Capsaicin type deck, the only red deck that advanced to the top 16 in Taiwan's 4th Series Championship. This deck relies on level 2 cookies and shares a similar playstyle with traditional red decks. The core cookies of this deck are Capsaicin, Wildberry, and Rebel Cookie. Interestingly, this deck does not include a level 3 Wildberry cookie, but the opponent will assume that you have this cookie. The outstanding feature of this deck is the use of Capsaicin cookie, whose excellent passive effect increases its attack damage by 2 points when it has only 1 HP remaining. By managing Capsaicin's HP carefully, you can deal 5 damage for just 3 costs. You can also prepare for a stronger attack by using Prickly Gloves or the trap card Oath of the Shield to discard Capsaicin's HP card in advance, setting up for the next round's attack. One important note is that when using Oath of the Shield, flip effects can still be triggered, giving you the option to decide whether to activate the flip effect. In this deck, the best cookie to play first is Capsaicin. If you have a Soul Jam, remember to place it in the support area to prepare Wildberry for play at any time. Unlike the level 3 red type, Fire Spirit cookie in this deck serves as a functional cookie, typically played on the battle area only in the late game as a finishing move. The Capsaicin type deck follows the traditional red playstyle, and the cookies in the break area must not be accumulated too quickly. Careful planning of cost usage is essential, and you should reserve costs when necessary to play Rebel Cookie or counter trap cards. The weaknesses of this deck are obvious. It struggles significantly against meta yellow decks, but this deck performs well with considerable dominance against decks of other colors. Okay, this 2 type is the most common red deck in Taiwan. Even though red deck has ended its golden age, you can still have fun with these decks. I hope the content of this video is helpful to you, and I look forward to the new Set4 decks appearing in the English version. Welcome to leave your comments, and thank you for your patience in watching this video.
我是多虑， 我们下一次再见，拜拜。